The Grant Kohrs Ranch National Historic Site welcomes visitors to 1,600 stunning acres of ranch and farmland. David Baker lives in Deer Lodge. Grant Kohrs Ranch is the place he likes to bring friends.
Well, it taps into the longer history of our valley. I think that kind of classic cowboy thing is romantic and cool.
The ranch uses draft horses to do its work.
You can step back in time, if you will.
Norm Johnson is a fifth-generation Deer Lodge rancher and the range tech at Grant Kohrs.
Well, I think it's a jewel, the tradition, the historic use of equipment and animals.
They try to keep the same type of cattle that they had in the early days. The longhorn, the shorthorns, the Herefords.
Ruth Little was raised on a ranch in the Big Hole Valley. She gives educational tours at Grant Kohrs.
These are the cows that will calve within the next month.
These cows have already calved. The ranch calves later than most Montana ranches.
Because the ranch has a branding for people to come to see in July.
The ranch's beginnings date back to the early 1860s. Johnny Grant was a fur trader from Canada
and settled here in Deer Lodge.
Grant traded cattle to settlers heading west on the Oregon Trail. He'd trade one healthy cow for two road-weary cows.
So those travelers could continue to move west.
When gold was discovered in the area in 1862, the cattle market boomed. In 1866, Grant sold the ranch to Grant Kohrs, who with his half-brother Johnny Bielenberg built a Montana cattle empire. The ranch was about 20,000 acres at the time. Plus, the operation included several 100,000 acres in central and eastern Montana.
This is kind of the home base for those operations where they raised the purebred animals to increase their production and quality of their cattle.
Grant Kohrs' grandson, Grant Kohrs Warren, took over the ranch in the 1930s. He raised registered Herefords
and expanded the Hereford cattle and the quality and sold not only statewide but nationwide.
Grant Kohrs Warren sold the ranch to the National Park Service in 1972. The National Historic Site now attracts as many as 25,000 visitors a year. The early cattlemen found the Deer Lodge Valley attractive for the mountains that protected it from really severe weather, plus the abundance of water.
Good lush grass for summers, and they could produce those high quality cattle.
There's this magnificent horse barn. Everything is authentic.
They fed with horses, they hayed with horses.
Here's the draft horse barn. It's filled with tack for the large draft horses. Norm loves the quiet of horses.
You're more in tune with the nature. You don't have the rattle and clatter of that heavy machinery.
This is the blacksmith shop. It's still used today.
The main ranch house was built in the 1860s and added onto in the 1890s. The administrative building was once Con Warren's family's house.
This is Bunkhouse Row, where the cowboys lived, ate, and slept.
Here's where they keep the buggies and carriages. Notice the brand.
The Lazy G Hanging K for Grant Kohrs Ranch.
In the fields, you will find a Montana original.
The beaver slide, which was invented in the Big Hole in 1910 by Herb Armitage and Dave Stevens. My father, Jay Nelson, built 50 of those beaver slides in his lifetime.
The Grant Kohrs Ranch is one of the few ranches that still use the beaver slide to put hay up. It's a popular event for the public to see in the summer.
To watch a beaver slide in action. There are still some beaver slides used, but very few that are operated solely with all horsepower.
Education tech Michael Williams takes us deeper into the ranch, where we pass irrigation ditches and jacklake fences. The train is a reminder on how essential the railroad was to shipping cattle in Montana. Here's a nature trail for people to enjoy. To be placed along the trail, Michael digs post holes to install pictures of native wildlife.
And we'll have probably about 12 or 14 different critters that you can learn about.
The Grant Kohrs Ranch National Historic Site offers an education in wildlife, ranching, and Montana history. Kevin Mackey, NBC Montana.